Hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a Centers for Spiritual Living teaching center. I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. I am the founder and the spiritual director. Now, as you are sitting there joining us, you may have questions, any number of questions, such as, who am I? How did I get here? Spiritually integrated arts means what exactly? What is a teaching center? Well, what is Centers for Spiritual Living? What is that? What does that even mean? Or New Thought, or religious science, or science of mind and spirit? You may have any number of questions about this specific community, about the parent organization, CSL, our philosophy, our teaching, our liberation theology. Any number of questions. Feel free to send an email. We look forward to connecting more and building our virtual community, our global community. And if you haven't connected yet on social media, feel free to do so. This is your invitation now. Also, did you know that all of our Sunday messages are archived on our YouTube channel? You can watch it anytime. Now, questions about anything, such as becoming a member. What does that mean? What does membership entail? And if you live somewhere far and already belong to a spiritual community, can you be a member of more than one? The simple answer is yes, you can. Just like you can shop at more than one grocery store, you can attend or be a member of more than one gym. We are building beloved community. So you can do both. You can be a member of both. You can be involved with both. That's what being in spiritual community means. So we welcome you. We invite you. We are so appreciative that you have found this community and that you have joined us today. We bless you. We love you. We welcome you. Live long and prosper. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of our Sunday message. Love you. Connect with you soon. Blessings. Namaste and greetings. Hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. Today, April 21st, we are talking about this gentle giantness, or giant gentleness, love, compassion, kindness, and what it means to take it to the streets. We are very possibly living in the most divisive time in human history. And even if we're not, in many ways, it certainly appears and feels as if we are. We are inundated with media biases and polarized opinions, possibly more so because of the internet, social media, etc., possibly more so than ever before. And yet, that which is fundamental to the science of mind and spirit is love, is unity, harmony, oneness. Love is the very essence of gentleness. And so this week, our practice and our invitation is to foster gentleness, love, in any of the areas of our lives that we need more gentleness, kindness, compassion. Any areas, and all areas. More gentleness, more kindness, more love. And when we are in that space of being it, we go out into the world. So, for example, suppose, it's going to be eyeglass cleaner, but suppose this is cologne. And I know Tracy's already saying, that's enough, it's too much. But I put cologne on. Got to make sure it's enough. Put cologne on. It's on me. I don't have to do anything. It's already done. It's on me. And I go out about in the world and go about my business, and I'm out doing whatever it is I'm doing, shopping, whatever it is I'm doing. I'm out in the world doing it. And I walk past people. I don't have to say anything. They smell the cologne. I enter a room. I don't have to do anything. The scent is there. Wherever I go, goes with me. Well, what about the aroma of love? What about the scent of compassion and gentleness? Or the stench of criticism, shame, blame, hatred? What about that putrid odor of divisiveness? Is that what people smell when I walk into a room? Do I have the flatulence of fear that is now infecting every corner, every square inch of the air within the room that I have now entered into? Or do I have the flatulence of life-affirming faith? You get where I'm going, right? See, it doesn't matter per se what we say. It matters what we're being. Am I being in alignment with a mental equivalent of my divinity? Because if I am being that, then the doing naturally happens. And if the doing naturally happens, then automatically I'm taking it to the streets. Because wherever I take me, That which I am must also be present. So, am I being gentle? Then I'm taking gentleness to the streets. Am I being kindness? Then I'm taking kindness to the streets. Am I embodying oneness? Then I'm taking oneness to the streets. So when you go out and about, what are you going as? See, one of the things that often happens within New Thought is many New Thought churches and centers operate as these individual silos where communities, churches, and centers don't connect and collaborate. They operate in competition as though God has no need to compete with itself. Love has no need to compete with itself. So centers and churches operate by this silo consciousness because oftentimes we as individuals are operating from the consciousness of the silo. In other words, we are operating based upon separation and segregation. We other people, we separate. See, if someone does something to me and I don't like it, and anger or resentment or whatever bubbles up and I refuse to forgive, then I've just created a barrier of separation. I have now siloed myself away from them energetically, per se. Even though, in the grand scheme of things, you can't separate yourself from God. It's all it is. So even though I don't speak to this person and I harbor a grudge or whatever that is, even if it's just the out of sight, out of mind, if I ain't thinking about them, then I don't got to worry about, even if it's that. Well, it's still a wall. It's still a barrier of, because I'm now operating on a consciousness, on a belief of, rather than love and compassion. Even if I don't speak to them, can I not still have an energy of love and compassion, even if I do not speak to them ever again? Dr. Holmes offers us life is not only where we are, it is what we are. It is in us as well as all around us. Because it is us. It's not just in, it is as with around us. And its whole impulsion is love. The universe does not rest on the shoulders of love. Love is the real lodestone of life. There is only one life, and that life is God, and that life is absolute wholeness, absolute completion, absolute perfection, absolute love. And what it is, you are. Love is the real lodestone of life. If I were to offer you, say $1,000, do you know what a lodestone is? Well, if not, a lodestone basically is something that possesses magnetism. We'll just leave it at that. Something that strongly attracts something else. Love draws unto itself what it is. God draws unto itself what it is. Creativity, creation draws unto itself what it is. So if love is the true lodestone, are you operating from the energy of love? Are you drawing love to you? Or are you making judgment, criticism your lodestone? Your opinions, is that your lodestone? Your divisiveness and separation, is that your lodestone? The principle of love is the greatest transforming power, which brings everything into harmony because it heals. The principle of love, which must become the practice of love, is the greatest transforming power. It brings everything into harmony. Are you operating based upon the principle of love? Are you operating as the lodestone of love? See, it is possible to protest, to speak out, to identify inequities and injustices, to identify them, and even in the speaking out and speaking up, there is love within the word. There is harmony within the word. There is the transformative power within the word. Otherwise, when one protests, one is being more divisive, creating more and more division and separation and animosity. So as we are going through today's message, let's periodically check in and ask, when I speak, even if it's simply a hello, does my hello carry the principle of love? Does it carry the energy of love? And if not, why not? What is my invitation to take care of within myself to transform my own consciousness so that even in a simple head nod to someone in a grocery store, that form of hello, that form of I see you, I recognize you, I acknowledge you, that even in that, the energy of love sees itself, honors itself, and draws itself unto itself. Dr. Holmes invites us. If we would look for a God of love, we must look long and deeply into each other. Note, he did not say look into the sky, look into the Bible, look into a church, look into a preacher. It's not a title. Look into each other. Namaste. That which is the divine, in, through, and as me, sees itself in you. If we would look for that which is God, we must look deeply, consistently into each other. We must look away from the differences, because if those differences are separating us, there's nothing wrong with seeing that which is different. As I said, what was it, last week? Apple and orange. I can see the difference, and there's nothing wrong with that. I can see the differences, but if I use the differences to say, separate, enemies, then the differences, that idea is the problem. So we must look away from the consciousness that separates us until we reach the place where we penetrate into the unity, the oneness of the whole. This is what Daryl Davis does when he has conversations with members of the Klan. He looks beyond the difference, black man, white man, Klansman, Grand Dragon, enemies, hatred. He looks beyond all of that to the space of, how can you hate me when you don't know me? Now there's communication. Keep going. Penetrating into that place of unity, oneness, wholeness. And in that place, that individual who identified himself as a Klansman sheds that identity, sees himself as human, sees Daryl Davis as human, sees the oneness, and then sees friend, brother. So we must look beyond and go to that place and find that place of unity, of oneness, of the whole. And only love, love alone reveals love. Hate but hides the gleam. Hate will hide, quote unquote, our ability to shine with love, to express love. Hate is like an anchor that draws and pulls down and will not allow the boat to travel. The boat is made to travel, but hatred is the anchor that refuses to let it move. Now, the anchor in and of itself, because the anchor can also be a stabilizing force. Love can be that stabilizing force. So the question is, am I allowing hate to be the anchor that holds me and prevents me from moving? Or am I using love as the anchor that holds me firm when it is time to be held firm? That between travel, as I move from space to space to space, I anchor myself, I ground myself, and I'm safe. I do not drift. I stay at the harbor. I stay where I am anchored. Which is it? Which do you want it to be? Because our invitation then is taking it to the streets, living it, rather than simply talking the talk. Peace on earth, goodwill, and all envy. Joyful, joyful, we are peaceful. Yeah. There's only one, and that which is. Rather than simply talking the talk, which many people do. Many ministers talk the talk. Many politicians talk the talk. Many educators talk the talk. But few talk the walk or walk the talk, which ultimately, strip all that away. What we are ultimately talking about is walk it, live it, be it, express it, be known by it. It is by the fruits that you will recognize them. When people see you, when they interact with you, what fruit are you bearing? What fruit do they see? Do they see the fruit of peacefulness? Do they recognize the grapes of wrath? Do people avoid you? You may not know it. But if you're honest and sit with, it's people don't like me. What's up with that? Now, it's one thing for certain people to not like you. For example, the moment I recognized and came out as a gay person, many of the friends and family members who were once, close knit, no longer liked me. That's on them. But if I say, now that I'm out, now that this and that, and I still don't have a group, a tribe, a ohana of people, okay, I need to examine that. We are a communal species. So let's look at when people see us, when they are around us, what is the fruit that they recognize us by? And when we talk about the walk, what is the walk? Because we're not talking about walking per se. The walk is your life. How are you living your life? Do you live your life as a demonstration of science of mind and spirit? Do you live your life in such a way that the principles, the energy of science of mind and spirit are expressed? Even if you never say the words practitioner, religious science, new thought, never say the words. Do people feel differently when they're in your presence? Do they feel encouraged and supported and nurtured? Do they feel empowered simply by being in the same space? I could be talking to people about the new Star Wars series that's coming out on Disney Plus, The Acolyte. I could be talking to somebody about that. And in the conversation about it, the energy that I give off, the aroma that I give off, do they feel, wow, I really like talking to this guy? I don't care about the Star Wars references and stuff because I'm into Star Trek, whatever, Doctor Who. But I really like being around this guy. And I may not even be able to put my finger on exactly what it is, but there's something that makes me feel good by being around him and talking to him. That's the walk. When we can live our lives in such a way that the living document of spirit, the living document that is science of mind and spirit, is expressed in our words, in our facial expression, in our body language. It's expressed in all that we do, in the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, the driving. It's expressed in all that we do, rather than I do science of mind and spirit on Sundays from the time of 10 to 12. And then that's it. Take that off. And then the rest of the time I do whatever it is my default setting is. That's not the walk. The walk is living, moving, and having your beingness in alignment with that which is the most life affirming expression of you. Dr. Masaru Emoto offers, whenever you sit in front of water, pause. Water is everywhere. Whenever you sit in front of water, what about the water in the other person that you're sitting in front of? The water that is in the very air around us, because there's water in the air. Whenever you sit in the presence of water and you send out messages of love and gratitude, somewhere in the world, someone is being filled with love and gratitude. Because the energy is contagious, the energy is sent out. It is like electricity. When you send it out, walk the walk. You don't have to sit there and purposefully, I'm sending out messages of love. Ooh, did I just burp? Like, it's not something to be forced or willed. It's something to be. When you are being it, you are automatically sending it out. And as it goes out, both directly and indirectly, someone, and I would venture to say more than just a single someone, there are those, whether they are plants, animals, people, the collective consciousness as a whole is being filled with, affected by, and impacted by love and gratitude. So, just for a moment, let's simply imagine that we are sitting in front of a massive body of water. And that in the same way that if you had a, dropper of food coloring and you put it in a glass, you can watch the color move throughout the glass of water until the whole glass of water is now a shade of blue, a shade of green, shade of red. Now imagine we are able to take that same drop and put it into the ocean before us, and that single drop is enough to change the entire ocean. And not just the ocean, but it changes everything that the ocean touches. So as the ocean touches the shore of a distant land, it changes the land and everything that the land touches. So that's every blade of grass, every grain of sand, every animal, every bird, because the birds land on the tree is connected to the earth is connected to the shore is connected to the water is connected to the drop was connected to you. And in the same way that there is water before us, the water in the air, now put the drop into the air and watch it disperse throughout the air and to everything that the air touches. Each of us has the ability to transform our individual lives and the collective. But we're invited to do it by walking the walk, not just as a sometimes thing. I'm not sometimes Ray. Even when it's Halloween and I put on a mask and I pretend to be someone else, it's Ray with a mask on. I don't become whatever. What is the mask? It's Grover. I don't become Grover. I might act like Grover. I might try to do my voice like Grover. That wasn't really good. That wasn't. But I don't become Grover. Right? We know this from film and television. We watch Denzel in a movie. He doesn't become. We believe it because his acting skill is that good. But he doesn't literally become a vigilante. He doesn't literally become Malcolm X. So you get where I'm going. But we embody the truth of our being to such a degree that even when that mask goes on, we are able to convey the energy, the intentionality, the power and the presence of the divine, no matter what. And the water is affected, and the air is affected, and all lives are affected. Lisa Nichols offers us, how much sense does it make for us to give the problem all the energy, as opposed to focusing on trust, loving, possibilities, peace? Does it not make more sense to focus more on the end result, the desired result, not the quote unquote problem? Doesn't it? Now, it doesn't mean you don't address the problem, because you do. But it's a matter of how much energy. Scientists do this all the time. Doctors do this all the time. To heal and transform, there is a fine dance, a balance between how much attention and energy we invest on the things that we call problems versus the things we call possibilities, probabilities, inevitabilities, solutions. Fine dance between. Scientific study is based upon this critical assessment of whatever the issue is, the X, the thing that needs to be solved, but it focuses on it in a way where it knows that an answer is there. It focuses on the problem by recognizing that if there's a problem, there has to be an answer. But if you focus so much on the problem that the problem is the problem of the problem, then the problem is only the problem and will never give the answer because the answer isn't in, it's only the problem. So, our invitation once again, where are our attention? Putting it on love and peace. Is there a problem in the world called war? Yes. And focusing on war and saying there's always been war, there's always going to be war, because that's just human nature to be at war, then that's focusing and putting all of your energy into the problem itself. And when we do that, we stay in the circular carousel of war begets war, begets war, begets war. Get a stick, I'll get a bat. You got a bat, I'll get a knife. You got a knife, I'll get a gun. You got a gun, I'll get a bomb. You got a bomb, I got a bigger bomb. Well, you got a bigger bomb, I'll get a bigger bomb. You got a bigger bomb, I'll get a bigger bomb. And then what? Blow up the planet 70 times over. Then what? Wait a minute, do you realize how nonsensical that is? You are so willing to get rid of the problem, the enemy, that you are willing to eradicate yourself as well. That carousel is a never ending cycle of. So, is there a problem called war? Yes. And is there a solution called peace? Yes. Are we following the path of living and embodying and demonstrating peacefulness? Are we walking the walk of health and well-being? The science of mind and spirit is a way of life, not something you do on Sunday or some other day of the week. It is the way we greet the day with gratitude, how we greet our neighbor with joy, how we greet life's challenges with compassion and grace, and how we greet the transition from this side of life to the next stage of life after life with peaceful surrender and curious excitement. It is how we make dinner, make love, make amends. It is our practice, our gift, our art. It is you and it is me. It is we. And it is evidenced in the way that we walk the walk daily. Breathe. This week's affirmation declaration, I will say it first, and if it resonates with you, say it with me on the second go round. I breathe gentleness into all the ways our communities and cultures evolve. Together. I breathe gentleness into all the ways our communities and cultures evolve. So it is. This week's journal questions and study group questions. Number one, in what ways can you apply gentleness regarding the political system? Number two, if love is your lodestone, does it change your views on social activism? What is the Yes. What is the difference between social activism and sacred activism? Oh, you want to wait till Thursday? Okay, cool. Number four, Where can you see gentleness demonstrated in social media? Where would you like to see it demonstrated? What is most challenging about taking it to the streets in general? What is most challenging about taking it to the streets as it relates to social media, as it relates to your family and friends, as it relates to your spiritual community, as it relates to politics, and lastly, as it relates to social slash sacred activism? What is most challenging about taking it to the street? Entering into that space of prayer, we recognize that which we call God, source, spirit, the infinite, is all there is. And what it is, each of us must be. If it's all there is, then it must be incarnating, living, moving, and being itself as each one of us, as all of us, individually, collectively, a unified oneness expressing itself in a myriad of ways, and yet still one. We breathe and recognize this practice of walking the walk of this oneness, walking the walk of this divine nature, walking the walk of love, taking it to the streets, taking peace to the streets, joy to the streets, gratitude, appreciation, celebration to the streets. Wherever we go, love is. Wherever we go, joy is. Wherever we go, healing and transformation is. Wherever we go, God is. And that which is the infinite goodness of all creation is as well. The law says yes. The law says amen. And it acts accordingly. So knowing that this divine word, this divine gathering, this coming together of like-minded individual expressions of God, recognizing it to be answered prayer. I stand back with joy and gratitude and marvel at the way that I and each of the we's that are gathered here, each of the individualized expressions are gathered here, how good and great and beautiful it is to walk the walk, to manifest miracles, to be the very glorification of love and gentleness, embodying itself as us. Well, that works for all, right here, right now. And so it is. Ah, blessings, gratitude. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we shall see you soon.